So Sandbox did have some good live performance in 2023, but solid outings at World Finals, both in 21 and 22. Made it top 12 in that field of 32 in 2021. Made it top 6 in the field of 16 in 2022. So we'll see how Sandbox holds on. And for those of you who didn't get it yet, remember we do have the QR code for our first drop still available on screen on the left-hand side.
Sandbox going to be using a quick cycle hog with the Mighty Miner instead of the Monk, instead of some of the other champions that we're used to seeing. And this Firecracker and this hog getting so much chip damage and still staying alive.
Does he protect this Firecracker or let it go down? He does let it go down and decides to bank the Elixir, being behind a little bit overall on Elixir. Ahead on damage, though. Sandbox having chunked away. And for those of you watching, Sandbox is playing from the bottom of the screen, Kitashiyan from the top, even though we see Sandbox on the top in the red and Kitashiyan on the bottom of the blue. So keep your eye on the game screen rather than on the player screen here to make sure you keep it track.
Huge E-Spirit coming in from Sandbox. I was wondering if he had the E-Spirit or the Ice Spirit. Instead, a pretty easy defense for him. And Kitashiyan, last card being Poison. It's a very strong deck, but you really need absolute perfection coming in from yourself. You're going to be winning by the 200 HP, the 300 HP type of games. And so for him to already take this huge chunk of damage, it's very worrisome if you're a Kitashiyan fan.
And now we got everything properly aligned. And, you know, Josh, as I'm looking at this one, thinking about some of the all-time greatest glow-ups in Clash Royale card history. And obviously the Wall Breakers, certainly one of them. You were playing in that 2019 season when they got changed from 3 Elixir to 2 and suddenly went from an oddity to a mainstay of the meta. Any other cards that kind of stand out to you as some of the biggest glow-ups in CRL or in Clash Royale history?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I don't want to cheat and use evolutions, because then you get to say, oh, you know, the Wizard, the Witch, all of those cards.
Sure.
If we're saying Bar Barrel used to be 3 Elixirs, so that's something. Why am I thinking bars? I'm going to have an answer for this eventually. I can think of glow downs super easily. When I think of glow downs, I think of the skeletons. Though it used to be 4 of those guys, now it's just 1. Right here, I mean, Sandbox getting a ton of chip damage once again, getting the tower down to 416. He just struggles so much against the offensive pressure from Sandbox. The Firecracker puts in work every single time it gets put down on the field.
You know, I'll say too that we see on screen right now. You talk about the skeletons. Well, they were supplanted in many ways by the goblins. People just finding more value out of their abilities and out of their strength. And then another one that kind of stands out to me. Hold on one second as we check out is the Knight. The Knight getting just a little bit beefier, and forget even stop talking about the Evo side of it. The Knight just getting a little bit tankier, a little bit beefier was huge, and it kind of supplanted what was a mainstay in the Ice Golem as a part of decks like this Hog deck.
Yeah, the Knight is definitely a super
a no champion deck out of Kitashiyan, and it ends up falling once more. So I don't know. I don't know if people will take your thought process. They're the ones obviously playing in the monthly final as opposed to the two of us here, but so far it has not been good for the classic style decks, if you will.
And right here, Sandbox running the Chef, so he's running P.E.K.K.A. How he wants to approach this Goblin Cage is pretty interesting, and he's just going to use the arrows on top, and the face cams are the correct way now, so very nice to see that get set up properly.
And what does Sandbox have for the Inferno Dragon? That'll help. Get a little bit of work in from the Goblin Giant. So Sandbox takes the chip lead, now has to deal with a fairly big situation. Fishboy will pull to the middle. And that's a nice barb barrel to try to get some cleanup here. And that E-Giant is going to do some real work on the left-hand side. Arrows come out. Sandbox thirsting for Elixir. And now the barb barrel forced to use a Rage to clear. Going to have to distract with Skeletons. Does he have them? Goes with the, no, has to go Bomber up high for the distraction. And we're going to get some sizzle. That's going to get deep into the burn. Oh my word. Sandbox might be playing the chef. He's the one who just got cooked.
Right there, Sandbox, it was such an interesting interaction. So we had the E-Giant coming in from Kitashiyan at the bridge. Sandbox does have the Fisherman, but he pulled it into the middle instead of electing to go with the King Tower. And so you have to assume that he expected Kitashiyan to have the NATO in cycle, use the NATO so that way it wasn't going to pull properly. It's a lot of mind games coming from both of these players on how they want to defend. Because Sandbox chose to go and pull it into the middle, he then didn't get the right amount of DPS because Kitashiyan was so quick with the barb barrel. It's incredible to see these pros and the mind games that they just use against each other all the time.
And here goes Sandbox trying to play the, well, whatever, just take my tower, I guess, game. And the sacrifice looks like it's going to work here. And this is why, I mean, there's been a few super cheese decks, of course, the classic Stinky Cheese E-Giant, E-Golem deck that have drawn the ire of some players over the years. But man, Goblin Giant Rage certainly one of those ones where I guess you have to make a choice, right? You made the choice to ignore that left-hand tower, but it's something special that we're still in a game here.
Yeah, and right there, using the lightning and the arrows, and quick with the golden knife. So this Giant is going to make it to the tower. The towers plus the bomber. It's going to take it out, but no, that is a misplaced Goblin Cage. That P.E.K.K.A is putting in work.
And the bomber gets one more shot in. 409 on the King Tower. And Sandbox going to go pedal to the metal. Has lightning available. Clearing stuff out. GG. Well played. Roar of victory from Sandbox, who eliminates Kitashiyan and puts himself one step closer to victory.
Seeing Sandbox's celebration, I genuinely forgot where I was in that moment. The rush of emotions that he's showcasing after getting a sweep over Kitashiyan. Just getting a sweep again. I mean, he has to feel so great, and it's so